Hello my crafty friends. In the last video I made these coasters for our new house and you will see that there are a couple little bubble spots here. And I want to get those filled in because they are sort of like sharp on the edge, and just for aesthetic purposes too, I don't want people seeing little bubbles in my projects. So I'll show you how I'm going to fix this. I got online and I found Let's Resin UV resin. It's a kit for bonding is what it's called, and it comes with this little black light. And the way the UV resin works, if you've never used it before, it's not like a time cure like the epoxy resin. It needs the black light to cure. So the way I'm going to fix this is I'm going to use the UV resin, and I'm going to use my little tool here. I got the one that has the little small sharp end on it, and you can use something like this or a toothpick, works good too. And then I've got some resin pigment, and I just chose yellow. I could use clear as well if I wanted to, but I want something similar to the color personally. Just gonna take the UV resin and put a small amount into my little cup here. You don't need a lot because it's just for the little bubble spots. And then I'm gonna take just a little bitty drop of my color, of my pigment. And I'll mix that together. See, and it pretty much stays clear, that way the UV light can penetrate it. I just want to take a second to clarify real quick. So the reason I bought the UV resin is I haven't worked with UV resin before. I watched other people work with it, but I've only been working with epoxy resin. And then I found out that you can use UV resin to help with little imperfections. So I thought it would be a good idea to get just a starter UV resin. So I just got the small one that comes with the black light because I don't have a black light either. There are bigger ones you can get. I just wanted to experiment with a cheaper, as in, you know, smaller, cost me less money one. So whenever I got this one, the instructions do say that you don't want to mix a lot of pigment in this one. So I don't want to use like the mica powders or like the real thick black or white that I use for coasters. I don't want to use this with the UV resin. I can use glitter, I can use just a clear pigment like alcohol ink, or the pigment that I'm using in here, the resin pigment. But that is just for this particular resin. I do know that other UV resin, you can use mica powders in it. You can use thicker pigments in the UV resin. It's just this particular one you can't. So I just wanted to clarify there. So if you have a UV resin that can use the thicker pigments, you can use that to help fill in the bubble imperfections. Or you can also use the epoxy resin, but just the fact that it takes so long to dry, and the less you use, the longer it takes, there's no telling how long it's going to take to fully cure in that little bubble. Now we're going to go back to the tutorial. So just a heads up, this one does take a few layers to get this done. I'll go ahead and speed up a few spots for you so you're not just sitting around waiting, watching me in the same position with the little black light. And let's get back to it. It's just got that little tinge of color to it. And then I'm just going to get the smallest amount on the edge here. You can see there's just a little bit on there. So I'm just trying to fill up the crevice right there. This was kind of a bigger crevice, so it's going to take little layers. So I'll just hold the UV light on there for 5 seconds. And then I'll do another layer. Alright, and that one has bubbled over just the tiniest bit, so try to flatten it a little bit there. It's really hard to do in the camera, I apologize, I'm trying. There we go. See, now that's flat. So I'll just take the UV light, stick that on there. Alright, and I think I need about one more. And I'm just trying to not get excess resin where I don't want it to have a bubble. I don't want it to have, see, I got a little too much on there. I don't want to have it overflow, so I'm just gonna, it's a bit difficult, especially when I'm trying to show you guys, so it's just gonna take me a minute. There we go. So you just want to do just a tiny bit at a time so you don't get that excess on there. I think this one will do it. And it's not going to be perfect, but it'll be at least a lot less noticeable. And there you go, at least it looks a lot better. See, from a distance, if you didn't know it was there, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell. And then if it does bump up a little bit, you can use a little bit of sandpaper and polish it. But at least it's not that sharp edge anymore. But that is one way you can go about correcting any little bubble errors. I hope this helped, because I know that those bubbles, they can always be so tricky. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.